What is going on, guys? Thank you very much for tuning in. Today, I have a high ticket closer on call, and I actually met him at the High Status Summit Seminar 2019. His name is Jazz, and believe it or not, this is our second time doing this video because I completely screwed up the audio, but it's great because now we can talk about how we progressed ever since the last time. Going from there, wanted to let you know the biggest story and why I like Jazz so much is that he was humble enough and authentic enough to tell me that there was a point in his time that he was homeless. And that resonated with me because about a year ago, before I launched my book, before I ever thought of creating my book, I was virtually homeless too, and it was just something that I connected with. So, Jazz, thank you very much for joining me today. All
Yeah,
right.
go from there.
Yeah. So, Jazz, why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself to the audience? Not only what you do as a high ticket closing, but how you help people, and what were the series of events that pushed you into becoming a high ticket closer? Because before, I think you were trying to get into copywriting. So, what happened there?
Yeah, okay, so January 2018 is when I realized that I was going to learn a high income skill because right before that, I just moved out of one of my houses. Well, not one of my houses, one of the places I was renting with my roommate, and we were moving into a different house, and we had this money saved, right? Because when you hop from one lease to another lease, you need to save up for your security deposit.
Yeah.
So I had the money saved, and that weekend that I was, basically, moving was the same weekend of a really big event that we both know of called the High Status Summit. So this was like 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
Uh huh.
Uh, Flew out that weekend, and I had that money, and I took that money and I decided to bet on myself. No, nothing wrong with like any of the the things that were picked at that event. But I made the decision of taking that money that I had to move in, and I decided to move it. I decided to use it. Excuse me. Decided to use it for the mastermind that was offered. It
Okay.
was an amazing offer. Right? Make $100, make six figures from your laptop in 100 days. That was the offer. And I was like, shit, you know what? Like, I am willing to, do whatever it takes. And I know that 100 days from now, I'm going to be making six figures. So I took that money I was going to use to move in, and I put it into the mastermind. And that means that I could not move into a place. So I was in a situation where I was living out of my car, and I was, going through the at-home content for like 30 days. And that's when I realized that, like, I can't do this. I can't do this for 2 more months. So I decided to opt out of it, and like, for the next couple of months, I was living out of my car, and I didn't really tell anybody
Yeah.
about it. I stopped posting on social media completely, and it was just a hard time. And I just got myself in this situation, and I had to take up a second job, so I could save up enough money to move back into a place.
Mm
But that situation put me through a lot, and it taught me how close to uh, struggling I really was. Because at the time, I was just working at a personal training company.
hmm.
I was
Uh
a personal trainer in another lifetime. I was trying to build an online brand. I was calling myself America's Authority on Getting Lean. I was
huh.
creating
Yeah.
YouTube videos. And like, that's what I thought I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to
Yeah.
be a YouTube, influencer in the fitness industry because I loved fitness. Like that's what I thought. Like, what am I passionate about? And I thought that that's what I wanted to do. So, I mean, that whole I couldn't post anything online obviously because I'm living out of my car. So just
Yeah.
nothing for a couple of months. Like you can just imagine. I had like 8 videos on YouTube. I don't think I ever uploaded anything after that.
Yeah.
Because after that, once I moved back into a place, I mean, now I'm working at a gym and I'm also working as a personal trainer. Like two different personal training
Yeah.
businesses, but just like all my time is just gone because I'm working with 15 clients just trying to pay the bills. And like, it's at this point I'm just like, you know what? I gotta get the money out of the way before anything.
Yeah.
Like if I don't like get my finances taken care of, I can't do anything that I want. So, um, I was recently part of a webinar,
Okay.
a Dan Locke webinar. You know Dan, obviously,
Yeah.
and it was talking about high income skills. Like that was the first time I heard the concept of a high income skill, and he talked about a couple of high income skills, copywriting, speaking, um, consulting, closing, and I didn't buy the high ticket closing program, but I did like the concept of a high income skill, and I thought that I wanted to learn copywriting. So January 2018, that's when I said, you know what, I'm going to call my friend
Uh
who's a
huh.
copywriter. We're going to get on weekly calls. He's going to teach me copy. That's what I'm going to do. So I did call my friend, and he agreed to give me weekly calls. And we were talking every week for about 6 weeks, and he was giving me assignments, and I was getting better at writing copy. And I thought I wanted to be a copywriter. That's what I was focused on. Mid-February, that's when he says, Jazz, like, eventually you're going to have to go out there, you're going to have to get a client. And I said, yeah, I am. And he says, it's going to take a while, right? It's going to take a while for you to be good enough to where you can charge for your work. At the beginning, you're not going to be able to charge a lot just because you can't deliver a lot of value yet.
Yeah.
That good. So I said, how long is it going to take me to get good? And he said, honestly, man, it took me over a year to get decent enough to start hiring clients. I was just like, shit, like, I don't want to wait over a year. I work hard.
Yeah.
Right? But, I mean, just the reality, it's a skill, and you got to get good at it. And then he was like, on top of that, then you have to learn how to close clients, because just because you're good doesn't mean that you can get paid for it, right? Because that's the issue he dealt with. He was writing copy for, like, 4 years, very good at what he does.
Yeah.
But he was struggling getting clients because, I mean, he was like 17 years old. He was great at writing copy. He could give people a lot of money, but he wasn't good at selling himself. And he had a lot of clients that were like just paying him like $500 a month. Small retainers. They weren't really treating him that well. They didn't take him seriously because he was so young. And he said he joined Dan's closing program. And 3 weeks into the course, he closed a $5,000 copywriting deal for himself.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're 17 years old and you can close a $5,000 copywriting deals like from 3 weeks of learning from this guy.
Yeah.
So I mean, on that phone call where you told me that, like, I was on the page and I did the program, like on the page, did the 3-pay plan, like 3 payments was $9.95 or whatever, and I joined. It's like the way the program is structured. It's a 7-week program.
Yeah.
And they're live classes, so they're live Zoom calls. And I joined week 4 of the program.
Yeah.
That I missed the first 3. And I had a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah.
But I joined anyway. And after going through the whole program, I got so fascinated with it that I just decided, like, nah, this is the skill I want to learn. Like, one, it doesn't take you that long to see a return.
Yeah.
2, is just one of the most interesting things in the world to me. So I decided to move from copywriting to this, and this is all I've been doing since February 2018 to now, which is June 2019. So it's been about
year and a half?
Yeah, like a year and like 4 months, so like 16 months.
Yeah, man.
This is all I've been doing for 16 months.
And it's so funny you say that because the first time I ever encountered Dan, and I had no idea who this guy was. Like, I'm like, who's this Chinese guy?
We had 4,000 subscribers like 2 years ago. Like, I think I accidentally watched one of his videos because he has the red suit on TEDx.
Yes.
And he had, like, I clicked his channel. I don't remember if it had 1,000 or 4,000. And now it has like 1.6 million.
Yeah, and I remember, like, he showed up at this style conference with Aaron Marino, and he spoke to us about high income skills, which was kind of weird because it was a style conference for men. But moving past that, I spoke with him, and he was like talking about copywriting and closing and public speaking, and I understood the public speaking. And then from that point, I remember being a senior in college, and I was like, I don't know what I want to do with my life, but I know I need to make money. And it felt very weird because you're with these people they've failed and they've come up and they've endured like the process it takes to become an entrepreneur, which is fucking hell. Like it's a hell, dude, but it's a great hell, especially when you're addicted to the process of it. And I spoke to him, and then ever since then, I subscribed to his YouTube channel, and then I was like, oh, like, this guy doesn't talk about style. He's very stylish. He has the staple of his double-breasted suit, but he actually has stuff that's practical business, and I want more of this instead of style. So he was kind of a turning point that I got out of being a menswear style influencer, whatever the hell that means anymore. I think it's overflooded. The market's overflooded. Everybody wants to look good. It's like, but can you get laid is my question. Yeah, it's like, it's so funny. Like, I just love the psychology behind like style. And then at the end of the day, this as a closer, it's your body language, it's your tone, and it's the words of your mouth that actually matter. Because at the end of the day, even though you may not be able to see the other person on the other side, how you portray yourself is going to be more, yes, dressing good helps, but how you carry yourself is going to matter more. It's like an 80-20, 20 is stuff, but it's like if you're a dickhole and you're in a suit, then you're just deemed in my sense, my realm, you're just like, oh, he's just an asshole, he's narcissistic or whatever the case may be. But yeah, dude, so that was kind of really cool that you now transform yourself into high ticket closing. But I do believe that the next step, now that you're in high ticket closing, what is the one thing that you're working on towards now? We kind of discussed this before we got on the call, that you wanted to create a group of pretty much be the leader of high ticket closers, or even, what was it, reel in like newbie high ticket closers to have a group of that?
Yeah. Yeah. So now I'm building a closing team of high ticket closers, and what a high ticket closer does is they partner with a a business owner. So think of everybody wants to become an influencer. Everybody wants to start a business that you make a ton of money doing what you love. Everyone wants to be a millionaire doing what they love, what they're passionate about. And there's a lot of online programs teaching you how to get into find your passion, find your purpose, and turn that into a business, right? Well, there's people out there who are really successful with that. People that you and I know, or people who are just own successful businesses that are very well known. And it doesn't have to be an influencer. I mean, it could be any big business. I mean, there's some closers who are working. I mean, closing is just a part of a business, right?
Yes.
So we're fulfilling a need of a business. So it doesn't really. You don't have to be an influencer. Any business where you need someone who is able to have the conversation with your prospect, and it's a high ticket deal. Whoever has the ability to have that conversation, that's something that companies need, right? So what I'm going to do is, and it's not an original idea at all. I mean, I learned this from Dan.
Yeah.
Right? I'm building a closing team, and we're going to fulfill that need for the businesses. Like for select businesses that I want to work with and have a product that me and my closers believe in. Right? We're going to work with them. We're going to fulfill this need for them. We're going to be able to handle their packages for them on the phone. Because, I mean, they're running their business. They don't have time to handle their leads, and they don't know where to find good people. Because, I mean, you go on Indeed.com, ZipRecruiter, you just find people who are desperate for a job. I mean, if you ever talk to a regular salesperson, if you ever talk to a regular salesperson, you're probably not that good, because it just makes you feel uncomfortable, and it's just, especially if it's high ticket.
Yes.
I mean, think of a used car salesperson, or just people are just trying to get money from you. They just make you feel uncomfortable. A lot of people aren't that good at selling. So, I mean, the need that we provide is we provide people who are actually good, who actually make people feel comfortable, right? And it can help the person, the person comes in, they're looking for something, and you help them buy, as opposed to, like, selling them, right? You can have a conversation with them like a normal person, and you can make them feel good, and you can give them a lot of clarity. And by the end of the, conversation, you're clear on whether or not it's the right decision for them, right? And it's rare to find people who are good at that. So that's the need that we fulfill. And companies don't know where the hell to find these people, but Dan Locke has obviously created, HTC organization to fulfill that need, and that gives me the opportunity to build a team and to also fulfill the need in the process.
Yeah, and even it's so funny because kind of one of the things that I have been able to debunk, and I'm gonna go exactly what you said. Everybody wants to become a millionaire and live their passion and make money at the same time. But again, a lot of people fail to understand that it's a process, and it's something that I discuss in my book. But I got the inspiration from this other book, and it's called Brain Briefs. Now, it's just it's kind of like a blog, but in a book. So like it's like a good 5-minute read. You don't have to go into too much depth. There's no stories. It's just answers to the most and least pressing questions about your mind. And I'm exactly what you said. The cool thing about it is right here it says that your brain is nothing more than a storage for new solutions to problems. So let's say if I want to fill a glass with water and the glass breaks, I know for sure I have to get a new glass. So my brain stores that information for how do I solve that problem? How do I clean something? And the cool thing it really boiled down to was, how do I adapt and change if I have the ability? And everybody has this ability. And I think people give themselves false beliefs. Everybody has the ability to learn. And even on the clinical psychologist side, even if you're dyscalculic or dyslexic or you have dysgraphia, there's going to be something where you still have the ability to learn. Yeah, there may be factors preventing you from doing so, but it just makes the process so much better because you could tell people that's not an excuse. And when you acquire knowledge using your learning ability and develop that high income skill, at the end of the day, that's how the process works, right? Because now we know how to solve problems, and that's all it is solving people's problems. And you're doing this on a much more grander scale with a group of team with select clients exclusive to who people who actually desire working with you. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that this was something that I used to create my book, just because I felt people needed to understand to stop limiting themselves. Everybody has hangups, everybody's going to have their ups and downs, but that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And then going from there, one of the things that also got it in my attention was, so you were a personal trainer, you invested, kind of lost it, thought you were going to do copywriting, do closing. Now you want to lead a team of closers. From there,
Yeah.
I guess the question is that how was the HTC program, and given the fact that you're 4 weeks behind, what was the process of acquiring that, and you just kind of had to jam pack that in? You know what I mean? Because a lot of people think, oh, like, I'm already behind, like I just shouldn't do it because, like, then it's going to be too much. What was that driving force that you said, you know what? I need to tell people I'm 4 weeks behind and I'm still going to get it done.
I think it just depends on the person coming in. I mean, it depends on your mindset, right? I mean, I'm joining the program. I know this works, right? I put down $1,000, so I'm serious, right? I mean, for me, it's like just not any other option. Why would I put down $1,000 and not give it all I have? I mean, I had to I caught up and I had to jam like 3-4 hour classes. Like I had to do that in like a week.
Yeah.
And another 4 hour class comes. Like, it was not easy. I mean, but it's just like your mindset. Like how bad do you want it, right? I mean, it's just an obstacle. But I mean, it depends on the person. If you're coming in and you're just like, oh, like, gee, like I'm already 4 weeks behind. Like it's just like it's either not that urgent to you. You're just not getting it. It depends on the person. Not everybody's like me. Right? Like I'm the type of person where like if I see the value in something, like I'm the type of person that if I see the value in something, I'll put money into it and go homeless for it.
Yeah.
Right? No, but not everybody's like that. Right? So I think it just depends on the person. I think I'm just the type of person that when I see an opportunity, I'm just gonna do everything I can to do it. And I'm also the person that I mean, not gonna quit unless I have to, right? I mean, I wouldn't have left that mastermind if I wasn't literally living out of my car. I mean,
yeah.
At that point, it's just like, okay, I mean, this is like I wasn't. It's just not gonna work. You know what I mean? But if I'm just the type of person, I don't have an issue with that. I know some people do. I guess it's just it really depends on you. It really depends on your situation. Like you need to be connected to your motivations. And I think if you're connected to your motivations and why it's important to you, I mean, you're just not going to make excuses.
Dude, that is like, you hit the nail on the head just saying that, because that's kind of some of the reasons why, on my end is like, I was working in corporate America, and it was my dad passed away December 2017, and I never had to experience grief like that. And then on my end, I kind of masked it, drinking too much alcohol. And then, like, I didn't know that grief was like depression. And then I had anxiety on the back of my mind where it's like, well, my dad's done. He's always stressing about bills. How am I going to support my family? How am I going to make money if I'm still in college? Like, I had this like anxiety because it's like I needed to be in the workforce. And the fact that I went to college, and again, to my audience, I'm not telling you to go to college. I'm telling you, what do you really want to do, and does it require a degree? So if you want to be a professional, like a teacher or a lawyer or anything that requires a professional degree, I would rather you fuck up with a high income skill and then generate money and then consider going to college. That's what I'm saying. But nonetheless, I remember being a grad assistant, making $14 an hour, working $20 a week, and then I was a admin assistant for the public school in that town in Stephenville, and I'm making like $10 an hour. So I'm barely scraping by, right? And then I'm like, all right, you know what? if my dad was here with me, I know he would say it's time for you to push. So what I do is I'm motivated to use what I have and get a job. And I knew people who like were 2 years out of college and they still had no job. They were still like a bartender or they were working at like HB, and I'm like, this is fucking pathetic. Like if this is what people are doing is graduating and they're just here, it's like I need to do something better. I need to go to the city. I need exposure, environmental exposure. So I come out to the city and I reached out to a few people, couch surfed for a little bit till got up on my feet. Literally took out I had $1,000 saved up, and I remember that was all the money I had for my graduation. Did not spend no money for my graduation from college. I took out $1,000 from the bank, and I just stuck it in my pocket. So like that is all the money I had, and I was in my junker car, and then I reached out to a buddy. He opened up his place. I gave him some cash. I said, hey, I don't know how long I'm gonna be here, but just know like I'm gonna get paid, but it's just gonna be, I don't know if it's gonna be a month or 2 weeks or however it is. I start work tomorrow. It was a Sunday, dude. Literally had everything packed in my car. And yeah.
I think I'm in touch with that emotion.
And so this is just me anxious to get a job. And that's not even considering the fact that like I still did not deal with my emotions with the grief of losing my dad. So I get the title, work for corporate America, 4 months in, and I felt like I was working there for 10 years. Because we had an on-call phone and I couldn't make my own hours. And there really wasn't a good support system with the company I was working for. It was kind of cutthroat, which I get when you're doing sales, you kind of have to be. But when you're leading a team of people and you're patronizing them and you're condescending like all the hard work through, one of the things that pissed me off was the fact that like, yeah, I'm going to grad school still, getting my master's. I'm doing the same thing you do. My high income skill was the fact that I'm bilingual in Spanish. And this guy, my boss, barely graduated community college. Like that was just kind of like, even though the title doesn't make the person, it was just kind of patronizing where you were working for FedEx 8 months ago. And 8 months ago, you also did this. So why are you just so condescending? I don't get that. Like, you should coach me, not micromanage me. And the driving point was I stopped working out. I still was grieving my dad. I couldn't handle my emotions, so I would just go to I made so much money, but it meant nothing. I would go to happy hour, drink, eat all the fast food I can, then either get so drunk I'd have to pass out in my truck, or I would have to take an Uber home and then like find my way back at like 6 o'clock in the morning to pick up my stuff, shower at the LA Fitness, and then go to work. Like I was a total fucking mess. And going from there, this is where the good stuff gets in. I finished grad school. I dropped out. But the day before I dropped out was I got my grades for the class. So I finished 12 hours. I think I have a 3.8. And then that day I said, you know what? Fuck it. I had a phone. I had the on-call phone. I said, I quit. I'm done. Like, I just never felt so belittled in my life. I got super drunk that night, super hammered. Slept in my truck again. Showered, showed up an hour late, and I broke down to the degree that I call my mom and I'm like, I fucking quit. I'm done. I'm coming home. Fuck this shit. And like literally lost everything. You know, just COO's at my desk. What the fuck am I doing? Takes me to his office. Like, I fucking hate this job. I quit. Here's your phone. I'm done. Like, thank you very much for the opportunity, but I am out of here. Like, and then that same day, I was applying for other jobs, and I got the job to be an office manager for a nonprofit company for mental health counselors. And that was just another driving force that it was an opportunity to say, one, I fucked up. But two, this is a start of me to get my shit together. And even though I got the job, like it took like a month, like for the entire month of May, I was pretty much homeless until June. And I moved back into Fort Worth again, struggling to get on my feet. And I'm working with mental health counselors, so I know for sure they're thinking that there's something wrong with me, but they trust my knowledge, skills, and abilities. From there, I literally got them from $40,000, stopped all the bad eating, bad drinking, went on a cleanse, just listened to other people who have different mental health histories, and in 6 months, I scaled them from 40,000 to 110,000. So like that was their per month. Like I scaled their revenue by like 72%, just because like I just extracted the nuggets and told myself, I fucked up. I need to get to the best part, and that was kind of like what allowed me to create my book, is because what people do in 10 years or 20 years of their life for corporate America, I did it in 4 months, on top of like handling emotions. And dude, I'll be honest, man, it's life changing, because it allows stuff like this to happen between you and I.
That's pretty awesome. That's a great story. I think this is, you guys should read his book just to see that story. I like that a lot.
Yeah, man. And so that was kind of what caught me to create my book. But like that's how I knew for sure, like meeting you at the High Status Summit, this was how I say, when you become woke, when you get out of hypnosis, when you get out of the rat race, it's, I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. I want, like, if even if I have to start the ladder all over again and go through humility, because humility and learning, they're sisters. Like you can't have one without the other. Just like when you're a high ticket closer, you have your fuck ups. You probably lose some sales, and you're like, but wait, how do I become better? That is the whole purpose of like the process, and it's awesome.
Yeah, that's so true.
And going from there, dude. So just to kind of wrap things up, now that you know you have all these systems in place and you're working on the next big thing, because I've always said you always have to keep working the next big thing. Um, Once you get this group, and I know it's kind of a little bit too far out, what would be your next high income skill that you would like to develop, or you think you should develop? Just because you tried the copywriting, but now you're a true closer, so that's your first copywriting skill. I mean, first high income skill. What would what would be like your next transition to like develop your other high income skills?
Okay. Here, can you hold that thought? I'm actually getting a ring at the doorbell.
No, you're good. No, you're good, bro.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me answer that real quick. Like, I don't know if you can pause the video for a sec. I'll be right back.
Yeah, you're good. I got it. Let me put it on hold. All right, my dog. All right, now that you're back, going off, what is your next high income skill that you want to develop? Because I know leading a team, leadership is a skill of its own, because you don't just become a leader from a title, and I will tell you that. And believe it or not, today is actually like the day that I started finally creating my leadership crash course for my website. So I'm super excited to like send that to you once you start this thing up, just to give you a different outside view of how leadership happens. But going on that, what is your next high income skill that you would like to develop, or who's that one influencer that you kind of want to learn more from?
Yeah. So, yeah, it's leadership. I think leadership should be a high income. Like, if that was another high income skill, I would say leadership, because that's what I'm focusing on right now. Like everything. I don't actually have any leadership books right now. It's funny because I think, if you go back in history, I mean, back before there were books,
Uh huh.
people were still great leaders, right? You don't need to read a bunch of leadership books to be a great leader. But I think leadership, you can't really teach leadership. I think you need to learn how to lead yourself first, right? And
Yes, bro. That is I that was awesome. Sorry for interrupting, but like that was just like holy shit. I didn't even think of that. So go ahead, dude. Oh fuck.
yeah, I mean that's the truth. I know some people who are naturally great leaders and they don't really read. There's a lot of things online about leadership, but I mean you have to. Everyone has a different style of leading. I
Yeah.
think it comes from your own. Comes from you. So that's my opinion on leadership. I don't think it's a high income skill. I mean, it's definitely. I mean, if you just became a better leader, if you did nothing different, I mean, you can take any business. If you just become a better leader and get better at getting people to motivate you,
Yeah.
getting people to follow you, getting people on your boat, on your vision. I mean, I think any business is going to be. I mean, that's when you turn C players and D players into A players. I mean, you look at
Yeah.
Apple. I mean, that's a whole team of A players, and that's what great leadership looks like. Right? And you look at Apple phones, and you look at the products it creates. I mean, this is the result of great leadership. So I think leadership is, one of the most important things. But another high income skill, I would say, the next one would probably be speaking. I think speaking is the next one I'm focusing on.
And
So I'm looking.
yeah, absolutely. And exactly, dude, you really hit the nail on the head again there, dude. And again, every time like I teach someone something, I'm also learning in the process because I didn't even think about that, and I do leadership development for primarily people who don't have leadership skills. Yeah, they may have a skill to create like a really good engineering product, or they're a good accountant, or they're a good scientist, but they don't know how to lead people. And I will tell you, there's nothing you can't teach leadership. You have to develop it. That's why it's called leadership development, because unless, like you said, exactly what you said, word for word, until you can lead yourself, you can't lead anybody else. And it goes back to your internal motivation to be, this is what I want to do, and I need to persuade, close, publicly speak that people understand my mission and vision to do what I want to do. That is what like leadership is. And I will tell you, one of the best books that I've also used in my book, just as a reference, because I love giving people their credit. It's called Emotional Intelligence.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, dude, this is the best less than $10 book I've ever got. I mean, the IQ means like how good I can function to learn something, right? A skill or anything like that. Processing speed or just cognitive ability. But emotional intelligence, your EQ, man, that's what takes you to Warren Buffett level. That's what takes you to Dan Locke level. That's what takes you to Jason Capital is how do I relate to my audience? How do I relate to Jazz? How do I relate to my prospect? And that's all it is people just want to be heard. They want to tell you their story. And at the end of the day, we're social creatures, so we can't grow alone. We have to grow together, man. So that was so awesome that you said that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm around really great people. So I mean, I have them to thank for giving me a lot of insight to just being a better closer and just a better leader. I can't even take 100% credit for that. I mean, I got that from Dan's right hand man. His name is Desmond. And
Yeah.
one of the most important things he said is like, you have to, before you can lead a team, you need to be able to lead yourself. You need to be able to get yourself motivated, right? Because how can you get anybody else motivated? How can you get anybody else focused?
Yeah.
You can't even get yourself that. It just doesn't make any sense.
That yeah, dude. So absolutely. So, for your audience, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, or they wanted to learn more about how you can better themselves, to better their income, to better their life, where would they be able to get in touch with you? Do you have a website, or is it just Instagram or email?
Sorry, the video and the audio is kind of cutting out.
Oh,
Can you say that again?
it's all good. Where would your audience or our audience be able to get in touch with you? Do you have a website? Is it email, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn?
The best way, just send me a direct message on Instagram. It's the best way, fastest way. Just send me a direct message on Instagram if you want to get in touch with me.
Absolutely, dude. So, other than that, Jazz, I thank you so much. Again, I learn a lot from you as much as I try to provide value and stuff like that. So, if you ever have any questions, comments, concerns, I would really appreciate that because I would just do that because we're really cool. But nonetheless, if you have anything else to share with the audience, what's the one thing that you want them to know closing up?
The one thing is just focus on one thing. I think I learned so much from Dan, but one of the most important things I learned from him is the secret to success is focusing on one thing at a time. And I think that people get so much shiny object syndrome, especially now because
Yeah.
you try to watch a video and 3 ads pop up from Kevin David and then Lewis Howes and I never seen Lewis Howes ad, but what I'm saying is there's just so many shiny objects and it's hard to focus on one thing.
Yeah.
And I think that I've made so much progress in this one direction, become like one of the successful high ticket closers because I just focused on high ticket closing. I didn't hop onto another program. I didn't hop onto another business opportunity. It's just focus on one thing, whatever you think is your thing. I mean, unless you get to a point where you realize it's not for you. Like, for example, like for me, I thought I wanted to be a personal trainer. I thought I wanted to be a copywriter. But while I was doing that, I was just focusing on personal training, just focusing on copywriting. Now I'm just focusing on closing, and I'm just going to focus on leading my closing team. But I think focus is like, Steve Jobs. And it's like that one, not Steve Jobs, wrong person. It's like that one story, if you ever heard. I think Warren Buffett and Bill Gates were having dinner at, I forgot if it was Warren's house or Bill's house, but and they must have been younger because I think one of their moms was serving the dinner, and the mom asked, like, both of them, because these are like the most two successful guys on the planet, and she's like, okay, so like if you were to say, what's the biggest thing that attributes to your success, like what would you say that is? And both of them answered at the same time, and they said focus.
Yeah.
Right. And those are the two former richest people on the planet. Now you got Jeff Bezos and it's freaking the worst. Why is what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And just focus on one thing. I mean, and even Jeff Bezos. If you look at pictures, I think from 1999. I mean, you still see pictures of him, working behind his desk. And you see Amazon right here on the wall, and like his vision of the everything store. And this is from 1999, and this is freaking 2019 now. So you're talking 20 years of just Amazon. That's all he did for 20 years. So I think the most important thing, like for anybody at any level, is just to remember, just don't get sucked into any shiny objects. If you want to get good at anything, whether it's clothing or any high income skill, I think you just need to focus on one thing at a time. Just give your 100% into that. That way you're not spreading, 3 different directions, giving it your 33%, but you're giving one thing your 100%, and you can actually make it work. Just give it your 100%. So that's what I want to leave you with.
Absolutely, man. And closing that up, the one thing that got me to release my book was I saw an infographic that said 20 ways to make money as a teenager, and I just thought to myself, well, there's 20 things. I can't do them all at once. But I do love writing. I do have a blog. But if I wanted to make myself an authority figure and develop that, I'm just going to focus on this ebook. And I did it for 6 months. And I was like, dude, even the day that I had to release it, I got suspended because I kept on giving myself like, oh no, it's not ready yet. Nothing's ever going to be ready. I just like said, fuck it. Like, I got suspended from Amazon for an entire year for their pre-order system. I said, you know what? Fuck it. Like, if there's typos or errors, I created this fucking book. I put my fucking heart, sweat, soul, tears, headaches all into this, and that's what people need to understand. So guys, just focus on one thing. Do it. Even if you think it's not perfect, perfectionism or being perfect or being normal, it's an illusion. Be weird, be eccentric, be over the top, but be focused and motivated. So Jazz, thank you very much again for reaching out and doing this collaboration with me.
It was an honor and a privilege, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Hey, take care, kick ass, and take names. All right, brother?
You already know it, man.
Absolutely. Bye, dog.
Bye.